It happened on November 21st, 1935. Out of the blue, the Hawaiian volcano Mauna Loa, standing at over 13,120 feet tall, began to erupt, and lava poured out from a crack at its summit. 6 days later, a new vent opened on the volcano's northern slope, and the lava started flowing in a different direction. They were watching everything unfold with anxious attention from the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory. The flow wasn't anything special, at least not until December 24th, when it suddenly turned toward Hilo. That's the very flow in this photo, taken in December 1935, and it was moving at a worrying speed, about a mile a day, getting closer and closer to the city. Usually during eruptions, no one can do anything but get out of the way. But that year, scientists decided to try and stand up to the volcano, to challenge the destructive power of nature. On December 27, 1935, the U.S. Air Force attacked the most fearsome enemy to ever exist, a Hawaiian volcano. Just an unobtrusive reminder to do that thing under the video. So the 1935 eruption of Mauna Loa. Even though scientists estimate the volcano's been erupting for at least 700,000 years, that particular eruption caused a public crisis. Hilo, which ended up in the lava flow's path, was and still is the biggest town and the administrative center of Hawaii County. It's also the fourth largest settlement in the state. At the time of the eruption, according to various estimates, between 15,000 and 20,000 people lived there. To compare, there were only about 370,000 people living in Hawaii at the time, so 20,000, that was basically a big city back then. No wonder an eruption so close caused such a stir. The concern grew even more once it became clear the lava might reach the upper stretches of the Wailuku River, which supplies water to the people of Hilo. Well, something had to be done, and fast, like, say, blowing up a volcano. All right, not exactly, and strictly speaking, it wasn't the first time people had thought about using explosives to change the path of lava. Mauna Loa is one hyperactive volcano, and over the past few centuries, folks living near Hilo have tried all sorts of ways to protect their property from it. In the summer of 1881, for instance, the villagers built small stone walls, but they were quickly swallowed by a fiery river of lava. That's why Princess Ruth Ke'elikalani, granddaughter of Kamehameha I, founder of the Kingdom of Hawaii, came to the site to pray to the volcano goddess. The lava flow soon stopped, but besides the princess's prayers, there was also a plan B. Local authorities were ready to blast the lava's path with a hefty stash of dynamite. Luckily, it wasn't needed then, but in 1935, drastic action had to be taken. That's why they called in air support. Technically speaking, it wasn't the Air Force, but the U.S. Army Air Corps, but those are details. The idea itself was the brainchild of Thomas Yeager, the founder of the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory. After checking in with his fellow scientists, Thomas Yeager decided that just sitting back and hoping it'd all work out wasn't the way to go. Yeager thought explosives would blow up the lava tubes and stop the molten flow. His first plan was to pack in tons of TNT, which could be hauled up to the volcano by mules, but there just wasn't enough time. What are these tubes anyway? It's actually simple. A hollow corridor forms in the lava when the top layer slowly hardens, but inside is still hot. Lava flows from Mauna Loa, just like from other volcanoes, can only travel long distances if lava channels are there and working. These channel systems usually form fragile zones that can be destroyed with explosives, and if these channels are broken or blocked, the lava flow will stop, or at least slow down and shrink, which isn't too bad either. And so based on that, Yeager called in the Army Aviation stationed on Oahu to attack the volcano. Actually, the scientists sent a request to the American military asking if they'd have any objections to dropping a few bombs on the volcano, and it turned out they didn't mind. On December 26th, 6 Keystone B-3A bombers from the 23rd Bomb Squadron and 4 LB-6 light bombers from the 72nd Bombardment Squadron were transferred to Hilo from Luke Field Air Base on Ford Island. This photo shows a formation of 3 Keystone B-3A bombers from the 23rd Bomb Squadron taking off from Luke Field. Each one was carrying 2 595-pound Mark I demolition bombs, each packed with 299 pounds of trinitrotoluene. You probably know it as TNT. There were also 20 pointer bombs, which contained just small charges of black powder. In the end, 40 bombs were being prepared for dropping. In this photo, a plane's getting ready for a bombing run. Below it is one of the 20 demolition bombs. It's in the center, and 2 of the 20 pointer bombs are on the sides. They were used for aiming. So the day after arriving at the site, the bombers started their attack on Mauna Loa. Because of the heavy payload, they had to fly at just 3,940 feet above the volcano, which, by the way, was still actively erupting. One bomber pilot reported that the explosion sent lava flying so high it burned holes in the fabric-covered wings of his plane. However, he still managed to drop the bombs. 5 out of 20 bombs hit directly in the molten lava, but most of the others landed in the solidified lava along the edges of the flow channel. Colonel William C. Capp, the pilot who bombed the lower target, reported direct hits in the channel. He saw a layer of red molten rock ejected to a height of about 197 feet, and how flying debris made small holes in his lower wing. The bombs that hit the hardened, bubbly lava along the edge of the flow created craters with an average diameter of 22 feet and a depth of 6 feet. But the most important thing is that several bombs collapsed the thin roofs of lava tubes, though in no case was there enough roof material to cause a blockage. This is what the explosion of one of the bombs looked like from above near the lava flow source on Mauna Loa. The bombs were dropped, the lava flow slowed down but kept moving, and by 10 a.m. on Saturday, December 28th, it turned northeast into the forest reserve, 19 miles from the bay. Fires caused by the lava were visible from the city and posed an added threat to Hilo's water supply. By the end of Saturday, Yager reported a slowdown in the flow but was not yet ready to say that it was the result of the bombing the day before. There were no reports of a new flow from the source that had been bombed. Then the initial flow stopped for the night but resumed moving forward on Sunday evening and continued towards the upper reaches of the Wailuku River. Fortunately, by Thursday morning, January 2nd, 1936, the lava flow was declared dead. Essentially, the 1935 eruption ended 6 days after the bombing. Yager was convinced that it was the bombing that helped stop the flow. He argued that under normal conditions, lava never stops flowing so abruptly. A few years later, the scientist expanded his statement, saying, quote, "The Army, in one day's work, has stopped a lava flow, which might have continued indefinitely and have caused incalculable damage to the forest, water resources, and city." After Yager publicly praised the Army for its responsiveness and technical accuracy in delivering bombs, Yager himself was praised for his successful experiment and saving Hilo. Everyone was happy with each other. It's not widely known that USGS geologist Howard Stearns was on board the last plane delivering bombs to the target areas. Stearns was actually mapping the geology and water resources of Maui's volcanoes, but when he heard about the plan to bomb the lava flow on Mauna Loa, he headed to Hilo. At 12:40 on December 27th, his plane dropped 2 bombs, but they landed several hundred feet from the target. But what's really interesting is in the assessment of the bombing target set by Yager. Stearns said that the tube walls look 25 to 50 feet high and deep in the flow, so no damage will occur. The lava liquid is low, the damming possibility seems effective, but the target's too small. Following up with a letter to Yager in January 1936,